We'll switch gears now. Let's bring in Mr. Dixon Osage, who is a security consultant. He heads the Debris Security Intelligence. Mr. Osage, thank you so much for coming on the program. If you can help us unmute your device.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good to see you. Let's get straight. Yes, let's get straight to. Some things happened at the weekend as we got the report from the federal government. One was the economic issue that had to do with our rating by S&P, a credit rating agency, but the other has to do with security, where we understand an ISIS deputy commander was right here in the country and he was neutralized. How did that news come to you?
Well, Geoffrey, that news came to me as a shock because we never got any intelligence about the commander. I think the last time we heard about him was in 2024. But the military has come out to clarify the fact that, of the truth, one of the commander bearing the same name was eliminated in 2024. And I agree with the military because most of these commanders, what they do is that the name is like a structure. You know, they pass it around each time you eliminate their commander so that the name does not die. It happens in Afghanistan, it happens in other, terrorist-prone states, and as well here in Nigeria, it has happened before, where we have some commanders being eliminated and somebody is being sworn in and also take over that name. But for me, I think the elimination of the commander is a welcome development, but it's not worth celebrating because it piqued my imagination where we have the Nigerian army and the military going after one man and celebrating the death of that man, which a section of soldiers in the army can eliminate. I don't see that as a celebration, and for me, I don't think that's worth celebrating because what we need in Nigeria is total peace. Eliminate the devil in our country, Nigeria, because as it is, Nigeria is now, the discourse in the international community, and if we don't tackle this spirit of insecurity and this terrorism swiftly, I tell you, we'll be moving to a failed state. And as it is now, if you look at the global terrorism index. Presently, I think we're sitting on the 3rd position, and that's not good for us, the country. We need to get out of that position and ensure that we go after these criminals from all nooks and crannies of the country and eliminate them. If you ask me from my own honest view, I don't think we even needed the U.S. support, but it's taking long. It has taken so long. 15 years down the line, our military are still engaging these guys. And I welcome the support from the U.S. military, and I think it's a welcome development, and we should start looking at going after their commanders. In exception of going after their commanders at Geoffrey, we need to start looking at the sponsors. Where are their sponsors? Where are they getting the arms and ammunition from? Because if you keep on killing these guys, killing their commanders, you kill them to eternity. You need to look at the, their economic, structure. You need to look at their, supply structure. You need to also look at their employment methodology. How did they get their fighters from? Where did they employ their fighters and move them down to their, combat zone? Do they go by air, by sea, or by land? We need to start looking at those, tactical disposition of these gangsters and criminal elements that have staged a war against Nigeria.
Some will argue that killing a commander is really, or a deputy commander in this sense, is really a big deal because they manage intelligence, they manage operational coordination and all of that. But in addition to that, how do you deal with people that are driven more by ideology than anything else? So if you look at what is happening in Iran, for instance, the Shiite government led by the revolution government, they are fundamentally ideologues. And so the way America read the room, is just as an outsider watching, it's not going to be a walk in the park because they knew this will happen one day. They are prepared for this. They are even prepared for worse. But let's come back home. Our country, we've been dealing with it for maybe 15 years or so. The height of terrorism. And the problem is we're dealing with people that are driven by an ideology. We have not been able to succeed the way we want to be successful as far as this fight is concerned. What should change?
Fantastic question. I want to talk about the elimination of commanders. It's a welcome development, like I rightly said, but it's not what's jubilating from national forces and the United States. What that does is that it demoralizes the fighters' morale. It also, demotivates them, which is also one of the strategies of counter-terrorism. It's a good one, but when you eliminate the commander, just for a short period of time, these guys would, approve and also, appoint another commander. Now, coming back to your question, Geoffrey, it's so sad that we are living in this mess in our country, Nigeria, and I think security is achievable, and I will tell you the truth. It's achievable in the sense that we don't have all the information in place to go after these criminal elements. They just sometimes capitalize on our vulnerable states. And I tell you that if we want to get it right and start taking out most of the sponsors of this criminal element, we'll be able to mitigate this high state of insecurity bedeviling our country. But first of all, we need to start looking at the punitive measures. What are the punitive measures in place? As we speak right now, there is an RRR program in place, a reintegration rehabilitation program in place by the state. And those guys that are rehabilitated and reintegrating into the society, do you have a database that can monitor, their character and also where they are, where they move? Because some of them can come to the RRR by deception, just to try and see if they can get into the military or betray the military. As we speak, some information are flying around the corner that some of these people that are being reintegrated by the Nigerian government have gone back to the state, serving in the military, the police, and some other locations, and some of them have gone back to their criminal enclave and also, cut away some arms. I have not verified that fact for sure, but I strongly believe that if we want to get it right, we need to establish a special court here in our country, whereby we'll have a speedy trial of this criminal element to ensure that those who kill our brothers and sisters, those who kill our military officers and men, those who kill our police officers are tried with speed and momentum and ensure that they are awarded the punishment so that it will serve as a deterrence mechanism to would-be sponsors or would-be terrorists or some criminal elements. But here we have cases, taking 6 months, 1 year, 2 years before you can, try criminal elements. I would suggest the federal government just establish a special court for these guys. Then secondly, I think the government needs to start looking at motivation of our officers and men, which is very, very important because these are the guys that put their life on the line to take out this criminal element, treating them by day, afternoon, and night to ensure that Nigerians breathe again. And if we don't take good care of them, their morale will dissipate. And as you want their morale to dissipate, they won't be able to go after this criminal element. And that's why you see crime begins to flourish. So I think the government should look into that aspect. And also, Geoffrey, one other important aspect is social contract between the state and the people. You look at what's happening in the country right now, you discover that the people have been neglected by the state. Election is coming, and I tell you, Geoffrey, a lot of people are going to capitalize on the mantra of security, which tells you that some state governors who are very good in centralizing their problem, each time there's an inspector, this time there's a security issue, they run to Abuja, they will come back and try to campaign on security issues and also on the mantra of security to ensure that the people vote them. And when they get into power, they tend to leave everything for the federal government. Now, Geoffrey, we need to start asking our state governors questions because if you have 36 states in this country, you have governors who are supposed to, take charge of those states. We need to start asking them what are they doing with our security funds. A lot of billions, made to understand that over 700 or 600 billion naira is being given to them monthly as stand to be corrected. And also, what do they do with those funds? If you are being given security funds, what are the equipment or what security equipment are they purchased? If you look at, hostile surveillance, for example, or surveillance activities from every given state, how many helicopters can we be proud of in Edo State, for example, my state? How many helicopters we have that can hover around the sky and chase these people from the sky to ensure that they don't kidnap our people, run to the, ungovernable places where they take shelter from and take shelter from that place. So the government has a lot to do, and state governors, the people of this country must start holding state governors accountable, not just the presidency or Abuja or the presidency. Every state governor must account for the security votes that have been given to them by the federal government, and they must utilize that money effectively to ensure that the people of that state are well protected. Looking from the urban area and the rural area, they must protect their people from the east, west, south, and north within every given state. So I think state governors has a lot to do as well, and must hold them accountable.
I totally agree with you, Dr. Sagi. Speaking about states, your state is in the news. The governor of that state declared that he wants to become president. 24 hours later, the principal, teachers, and I think students were abducted. There is a viral video where the principal and I think some teachers were, are seen appealing for help and appealing for their rescue. It's a very devastating video. For those who I've had the opportunity to speak to people who have been kidnapped. It's not a place you want to be or want even your worst enemy to be. So I'm particularly concerned because when students are being kidnapped, in Borno State as well, early hours of this morning, we are hearing reports that about 45 persons too have been kidnapped. Help frame this for our viewers around the world. Do you think that in all sincerity and honesty, or our leaders are perhaps clueless, helpless, or shameless? Because what we hear is that these things happen and they put up statements. They put up press releases. We will deal with them decisively. And after that, it is back until the next kidnap is done. It's been happening in Kwara State, attacks over attacks, and now in Oyo State, we are seeing that it's getting even closer and closer to this region.
A fantastic question. You say kidnapping has evolved into a dangerous and criminal economy. And I think it must be treated as a national emergency. We're not looking at it from an emergency perspective. For me, I think that the government should declare kidnapping as an emergency situation. I saw the video. Joe, my brother and I think I was so worried. The first thing that came to my mind was, what if this is my mother? Or what if this was my mother? I felt so sad watching that woman play for her. And that's one thing the government needs to also understand, that these criminal elements are not after the people. And I have said it on many fora, that any victim of kidnap, they are not victims, they are not the direct victims. They are secondary victims from a criminology perspective. The state government is the primary victim. Until the state begins to see themselves as the victim of kidnapping, victim of terrorism, they will act swiftly and ensure that they declare kidnapping as a state of emergency and also a death sentence to kidnappers. We have one or two kidnappers in the prison, like Evans, the kidnapper, who once came to learn negative light, and he was addressed as the billionaire kidnapper. And a lot of guys feel that, oh man, there's billions of naira in kidnapping, and people are now commercializing kidnapping and thinking that that is the only way they can get rich quick, simply because they knew that the government cannot get them quickly. So for me, when I played that video, Geoffrey, I had a sleepless night. I must be frank with you, because the first thing that came to my mind was, oh, what a beautiful woman. In the days of this enemy, and the only offense she committed was being a Nigerian, and also the state has failed her. The governors has failed her, and the security agency of this great country has also failed her. We shouldn't be perturbed. I strongly believe that Nigeria will be great again. But if we want to be great, we need to start having strategy, document in place, policies in place that can govern our security agents. As we speak now, most of these state governors, they don't have security plan. They don't have security strategy. If I ask Governor Makinde now, what is your state security strategy? How do you respond to incidents like this when they occur? What plans do you have in place? Do you have a rapid response team in place? And that's why we advise that every state in Nigeria, not exempted, every state in Nigeria, not state should be exempted, should establish a rapid response squad that will deal with kidnap issues with speed and momentum. So that when there's a kidnap incident, what they do is that they move swiftly with their helicopters, with their vehicles and everything, go after this incident, go after this criminal, and ensure that they don't have a comfort zone or where to reside, or take these our people to and start maltreating them and get back to the state. I tell you, it's a regrettable situation, and Nigeria needs to know that our people, governance is all about the protection of life and property. I hate to having this issue.
Yes,
but it's going to be a dirty one for our states.
I hate to hold brief for these governors, but perhaps the argument is that yes, they have the tag as the security chief officer of their state, but in the reality, they cannot even control the commissioner of police in their states. I mean, I hate to hold brief for them, but that's part of the argument for some of these governors. Okay, well, the argument is fine, but I tell you, if that is the argument, then they should stop taking security votes. They should refund the money back to Abuja, if that is the argument. You see, it's not about... I'm with you on this. I'm totally with you on this, actually.
You say what?
I am totally with you, Dr. Sagi, on this. They should return the security votes, perhaps, so that...
Yeah, if you think they are handicapped or they cannot, respond or speak to the commissioner of police, they should refund the security votes. Now, the security is very sensitive. It has some measures in place. It's not about being reactionary or speaking with the commissioner of police. It's all about putting a strategy in place to forestall that incident, to prevent that incident from happening. That is being proactive, being proactive, and also not being too much of reactionary. But here in our country, we are too much. We are so reactive in our security incident, which is very, 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 very wrong. So the preventive measures, that's where the government comes to play. Take the security vote. Build a community of intelligence guys, community-led policing, or some people, like we have Amotek, what are they doing? Do they have intelligence formation? Do they get intelligence from the state and from the criminal enclave and sent to the state? Because before these criminals strike, these criminals, I tell you, what they do is that they also carry out surveillance activity before they strike. And after carrying that surveillance, they go on strike. So that's why we have counter-surveillance. What is the state doing in the area of counter-surveillance? Which is very, very important.
All right, Mr. Sagi, I think there's something a bit more disturbing, if you don't mind. And I've just been processing it, and we've talked about this over and over, is what you can argue to be the complicity of the state. Somebody would say, I don't know whether it's a former general or former military head of state that said any crime that lasts more than maybe 48 hours, the state is involved. Now, where I'm particularly concerned is that it looks like the political class, they are taking turns to make Nigeria ungovernable. Their own words now. Remember, the PDP had accused the APC of being responsible for bringing the Boko Haram. The vice president sometimes jokes around, he said, but they said, because there was a time he was introducing his aides, his CSO, his chief security and all of that. So he was saying this person is from this region, that person's from that region. And he was saying, look, but they say I'm the one that brought in Boko Haram. Now, recently, the Senate president also talked about the fact that he knows that after the election, 2 weeks after the election, all of this will be over. More like the enemies of the government are trying to make the state ungovernable. The president himself, when he was meeting with the leaders from Plateau, after he visited Plateau and he said they should meet him in Abuja, more like telling them, don't make your state a killing field, because these people, they don't want me to, they want to make the place ungovernable for me, paraphrasing, they want to make the place ungovernable for me. They don't want me to campaign, but I will campaign for my re-election. So it looks like politicians, from these remarks I've just brought out, are taking turns. When is this party's turn? For however they do it, they take turn to make Nigeria ungovernable. The other party's turn. Are we in a helpless situation because, quote and unquote, the political class are not responsible enough?
Excellent submission, Geoffrey, and I agree with you 100%. And also strongly, state that the Nigerian politicians, for instance, they failed the country. And I will tell you that for true, they failed us. And we all listen, we all hear, we all see what's going around within Nigerian territorial space. And truly, everybody want to take turn. And so sad, Geoffrey, whenever an incident happens, most of these politicians want to use that incident as a campaign mantra against the sitting government. Maybe, for example, President Bola now is going for 2027 election, and maybe an incident happened in Maiduguri, whatever the case may be. Some politicians want to capitalize on that incident, to attack the sitting government and tell Nigerians they can do better. For me, I think that's an abuse on the victims. That's a shame to these people, because whatever the case, Nigeria comes first. Whatever the case, the state comes first, the people come first. What do you do as an opponent? What do you do as an opponent is that you can also, as well, sometimes, support the state before campaign or whatever the case may be. And if you have anything you want to use for campaign, put that rightly. But don't, capitalize or pray for incidents to occur so that you, succeed the next government or be in charge of the next governor or be the next governor or the next president. I don't see that as politicking. I see that as an act of animal behavior from our political leaders, because the Nigerian state comes first and we must respect the Nigerian people. If you don't respect the Nigerian people, people begin to take turn. It's my turn. It's my turn. Even the president rightly said it some few years ago that it's his turn. He has taken his turn. Maybe he wants to go for the second batch of his turn. I don't know. I wish him good luck. But what we need as a country is that we need an effective protection of our people. It is doable. I have said it. Ensure that you have a lot of money, to dispense for arms and equipment. Take very good care of the people that are in charge of our security design. Geoffrey, I want to tell you, I was in a Ikeja cantonment last week. There's no electricity. I was in Air Force Base. There's no electricity. These guys, officers and men who sworn an oath to protect the territorial integrity of this country, are living in darkness. And the next morning, you give a fighter pilot a jet to go and bombard somewhere in Maiduguri, and you think you will not miss target after waking up from a dark night? A lot of things we need to do a lot of things for our great country, and also ensure we motivate our officers and men to ensure that they carry out the right thing. And as well, our policing system also have a lot to do. The military must not, be politicized. They should take a departure from politics. The Nigerian policing system should take a departure from politics and ensure that their allegiance is to the people. But what we have now, security agencies' allegiance is to the politicians, and we need to write that wrong. Yes, correctly.
Let me just take you back briefly as we round off our conversation with you to the killing of the second in command of ISIS leader globally. I'm not sure how Nigerians are trying to comprehend that the fact that the second in command has been right here with us in Nigeria. But listen to the words of President Donald Trump, who had to break this news first to Nigerians and the world. He said, "Tonight, at my direction, brave American forces and the armed forces of Nigeria, at President Trump's direction." You know, that's number one question mark for me. Secondly, when the Nigerian government, okay, fantastic, our producer has it on the screen for our viewers to see. And then when there was a reaction from Bayo Ononuga and subsequently from the televised interview with the director of Nigeria's Defense Media Operations, Major General Onoja, Michael Onoja, he explained that the US military provided intelligence and surveillance support while Nigeria deployed boots on the ground for the operation. So it took the US government to provide surveillance and intelligence reports to the Nigerian government. Fantastic, you have the statements there on your screen for our viewers to see. It took the US government to provide intelligence, and your opening thought, you actually said that there was no intelligence about that particular attack. So does this also perhaps, you know, confirms the fact that there's a huge question mark around intelligence gathering? How it takes someone in the US to see that a second in command, a threat, a major terrorist is here, and we cannot see it. But we are happy to brag that we had men to deploy to the ground, or boots on ground, but we don't have intelligence gathering. Big question mark, Dr. Sage, don't you think?
Don't be angry, my brother. I think that's the state of ourselves in our country, and I need to also let you understand that the US did very well in the area of intelligence. You know, I have said this on many forums that arms and ammunition does not bring victory. Intelligence is one of the strongest components for the survival of any given country. Any country that wants to survive and doesn't have an effective intelligence network and intelligence measures in place, measures in place, I tell you, the country will fail, and that is one of the major reasons we are failing. We'll be failing, and we keep on failing because of intelligence. We have the NIA, we have the DSS, we have most of this, intelligence network. What is the government doing about these people? I want to advise that most of this advanced technology. I was in America last year, for a security conference. I couldn't find any of our security agents, both the police, the army, and the navy, where we have a lot of intelligence equipment, a lot of intelligence network, technological equipment that you can use to support the state to fight against the terrorists. You can also have mobile surveillance equipment as well. So for me, I think intelligence has failed, and we need to go back and revamp our intelligence agencies. We need to also restructure them and also ensure that we get them the appropriate equipment, and also our satellite imagery. What are we doing with it? Because how can you kidnap a mother and children, some people from a place, and take them to another place, and nobody can find where they are? That tells you that our satellite imagery, we need to ask our government where is our satellite. We need to have effective satellite in place that can hover around our territorial space to go after this criminal element. It's so sad we have the America come to assist our brave officers and men, and I'm not trying to write off what our military are doing. Our military are doing so well, but their best is not good enough because we have them being killed every day. General being killed by terrorists. Brigadier General being killed. Bremer was killed. Ba was killed. General Ba was killed. 2 generals within a year killed by this criminal element. He said, no, for the military. The military should not accept that. That is not doable. That should never happen in a state society. So I pray for our military to succeed, and we need that. All we need for our government is to have effective intelligence network.
Mr. Sage, is there anything wrong? Because I think this is the second time there's this joint operation. Remember the one that happened in Sokoto, and then this particular one that has taken out this deputy ISIS commander. Is there anything suspicious or worrying that we should be looking at when it is the United States government that announces an operation in Nigeria rather than the Nigerian government, or this is standard protocol from the security point of view?
It's not a standard protocol. I think it's all about trust psychology. And I think we have some criminal elements who are within the force, who are within the government, that pass this information to this criminal, to these terrorists. Because most times, when the government of Nigeria try to, plan an attack or carry out an activities against this criminal element, information gets to these people. You understand? And how did this information get to them? So I think United States coming on board and plan this execution is a welcome development because they are very good in information management. And here in our country, we are not good in information management. And I think that's what the military should work on information management, which is very, very important. Information management is as good as a dead state. If you don't manage information properly, it's as good as a dead state. So let's see how we manage information and ensure that even without the assistance of the United States, we'll be able to, carry out this intelligence activity. But I doubt it will happen because it has been politicized, terrorism has been politicized, kidnapping has been politicized, and our politicians are not helping matters. They must remember that they will not live till eternity. That's one thing I need to remind our politicians. This morning, none of them will live till eternity. 80, 90, 100, you are gone. Everything you have fought for will be wiped out. So for me, let's put Nigeria first and put human life first so that we'll be able to have a greater country called Nigeria.
It's a fine place to anchor our conversation, and thank you for doing our politicians that very, very pivotal reminder. Dr. Dixon Osagie is a security expert, is always really very passionate about security and the business of Nigeria security architecture right here in Nigeria. Thank you indeed for your time on the program.
Thank you for me. Thank you for having me.
This is the morning brief. We'll take a moment now. When we come back, we'll turn our attention to something else really very essential in the FCT. We'll tell you all about it in just a moment. Please stay with us.